coming from Russia to us this evening that has proclaimed its annexation of a swath of Ukraine. Now, the proclamation came in a televised speech by President Putin and is being seen as a major escalation of the ongoing war, 7 months and counting. The signing ceremony on your screens happened at the Kremlin. Now, the move is coming 3 days after the completion of a hastily organized referendum in 4 occupied regions, including Kherson. Moscow is claiming that 99% people in these 4 regions voted in favor of joining Russia. Mr. Putin's proclamation of Russian rule over almost 15% of Ukraine now, the biggest annexation in Europe since World War II, has been rejected by Western countries and even many of Russia's close allies. The 4 territories that we are talking about that Russia has now annexed create a crucial land corridor between Russia and the Crimean Peninsula, which was again annexed by Moscow in 2014. Now, together, all 5 make around 22% of Ukraine, whose forces in recent weeks have been clawing back ground in that war. Listen in to what Vladimir Putin has said and how the UN has reacted to the Russian proclamation.
Вы знаете, в Донецкой и Луганской народных республиках, Запорожской и Херсонской областях состоялись референдумы. Их итоги подведены, результаты известны. Люди свой выбор сделали. Однозначный выбор. Сегодня мы подписываем договоры о принятии в состав России Донецкой Народной Республики, Луганской Народной Республики, Запорожской области и Херсонской области. Уверен, что Федеральное собрание поддержит конституционные законы о принятии и образовании в России 4 новых регионов, 4 новых субъектов Российской Федерации.
The Kremlin has announced that the ceremony will take place tomorrow in Moscow, that will launch a process of annexation of the Ukrainian regions of Donetsk, Luhansk, Kherson, and Zaporizhia. In this moment of peril, I must underscore my duty as Secretary General to uphold the Charter of the United Nations. The UN Charter is clear. Any annexation of a state territory by another state resulting from the threat or use of force is a violation of the principles of the UN Charter and international law.
Ashok SS Jhanhar is a former ambassador joining us on the broadcast, and Major General A.K. Siwach is a defense analyst with us as well. Ashok SS Jhanhar, I'm coming to you first. Completely on expected lines, I know that is the argument you will make. But should we see this as a major escalation, given that Western countries have done what they wanted to do and needed to do, and Russia continues to do what it needs to do? What is the major escalation that we can see? I would imagine all the escalation that we needed to see, we have seen in the last 7 months.
Yeah, I agree with you, Shreya, that it is a major escalation. And definitely we have seen several escalations in the past. As you said, we have seen all the escalations, but I think there are still so many other steps that one could climb. And one of those is definitely, what Mr. Putin has been threatening, that he will use all the instruments at his disposal if there was an existential threat. And this is now, he has said that these 4 regions are now a part of Russia. So any attack on this will be considered to be an attack on Russia. But I think this is really, Shreya, in my view, indication of the desperation that Mr. Putin is feeling, his total unpredictability. You have seen even at the SCO summit in Samarkand, even the friends of Russia have advised him that, this has been going on now for too long, more than 7 months. And obviously his objectives that he would have started with, they have been changing along the road. But, coming to this decision and asking the Federal Assembly, the Duma, to ratify, of course, they will ratify it. But I think this is a huge, major escalation. Now, Mr. Putin says that I'm ready to negotiate. But, this is totally, it's a total farce, because Ukraine, the President Zelensky had said before this that there are going to be no negotiations. How can you do that? You occupy territory, as you said, 20% of the territory, and then you say we are ready to negotiate. Of course, these are not terms on which any self-respecting country would be able to negotiate. And I don't think even as far as the West is concerned, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
My question to you was this, my counter question to you was this. All this while, you know, we've been hearing about the Ukrainian fight back. The fact that Ukraine is still standing is, of course, a miracle and a testimony to the brave men and women who populate that country. But, you know, many people will say, given what has happened today, that Russia has met its military objective. So where is Russia losing this war?
No, but, you know, has it met its military objective? Do we know that Mr. Putin is going to stop at this? And even if it has met its military objective, is this the final objective of the conflict, that Russia meets its military objective and then we finish the war? Meaning the military objective at the beginning was also a change in regime. That is why Mr. Putin's forces had gone right up to, you know, on the border of Kyiv, 64-kilometer long convoy standing there for weeks on end. Meaning, that is what I mentioned right at the beginning, that his objectives have been changing. Now, if it was to say, okay, we are going to calm down, we are going to talk, the objectives could all, you know, could change again. That, okay, let us start and negotiate, and we want something more. We want Odessa also. We don't want any access of Ukraine to the Black Sea at all. So, you know, there are so many imponderables. And that is which brings me to the first comment that I made. This really speaks about the desperation and the total unpredictability of Mr. Putin. He knows that the world is raged against him. All his friends, even in his own region, you know, members of the Collective Security Treaty Organization, like Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, all of them have said, we are not going to recognize the independence of the Luhansk People's Republic and Donetsk. And now this annexation, I think, will be further pushed back, because these countries themselves are also apprehensive that some similar arguments could be used by Russia against them. Last point I'll make here, Shreya, is just a few weeks ago, the former president and prime minister of Russia, Dmitry Medvedev, he sent out a tweet saying that, in his view, Kazakhstan is an artificial state. Exactly the same comment that was made by Mr. Putin. And there are about 23-24% people of Russian origin in the north of Kazakhstan. So all these countries are also very apprehensive at what Mr. Putin has been doing over the last 7+ months.
Major General Siwach, question is, will Mr. Putin stop here? He's annexed, along with Crimea, 20 to 22% of Ukraine. Is this where he'll stop? You know, Ashok SS Jhanhar rightly has said that Mr. Putin has been saying one thing and doing completely the other. He's been completely unpredictable. When this war started in February, 7 months ago, he said, my aim is not to annex Ukraine. My aim is just a regime change, which means President Zelensky needs to go and I will withdraw my troops. Clearly, he was not telling the truth.
Yeah, Shreya, absolutely. Shreya, you see, the point is not that he clearly not telling the truth. Things are not in his control. Things are not going the way Russia wanted. You know, the issue is that they wanted the Eastern Crescent starting from Kharkiv, including Donbas area, then Mariupol, Kherson, and then also going to Odessa, so that they can have this as a buffer zone between Russia and Ukraine. But why the things have not happened that way? Because the Russians are on retreat now. The way Ukraine has already taken Kharkiv, which is a financial capital, almost 6,000 kilometers. Now, as far as Putin is concerned, he was on a back foot. And the point is that he wanted to take back that, and they were no taker. Domestically, he was losing out. He did this partial mobilization, which has not worked. Now, my point is, will the war stop now? No, of course not. Why it will not stop is, the West and the US is not going to take it. They will provide the best of the best weapon to Ukraine. Ukraine is ready to fight. You will find that more than 6,000 kilometers, they will take more area. The point is, on ground, militarily, it is Ukraine which is pushing back the Russians. And the Russians are on the retreat. As far as, you know, this area is concerned, Luhansk and Donetsk. Luhansk area, only 60% is being taken by Russian. 40% is still with Ukraine. I fully agree as far as this area of Donbas is concerned. It is an industrialized area. And what happened is that the maximum armament industry is here. My concern is now this war will take a different shape. You'll find it, war will be flared up. They will be from the both sides. As far as Ukraine is concerned, they are ready to fight. The weapons will be given to them. And Russia, as far as Putin is concerned, it wants an honorable exit. He's not getting it. And you find it that
So you're
if
saying
this
that
war
Russia is
can lead
looking
to
for an
anywhere
honorable
else, and
exit.
to me
They are
it
not
looks like
getting it.
Russia can
Okay,
use also
General
a
Siwach, we'll
nuclear
have to
weapon.
leave it there. I'm afraid you're saying
Nuclear
that Russia
weapon
is
also
looking
he
for
can
an
use.
honorable exit. They are not getting it. The Ukrainians are fighting on, etc., etc. But the fact is that we are seeing the biggest annexation in Europe since World War II. Almost 15% of Ukrainian territory is now officially part of Russian territory. It's been annexed. There's a proclamation that is out. So the world can say what they want to, but Mr. Putin has gone ahead and done exactly what he wants to. We'll leave it there for the moment. Ashok SS Jhanhar, thank you very much for joining us. And General Siwach, thank you very much for joining us as well. I'm slipping into a quick break on the show.